Welcome to another episode of Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. I am Bean, and wherever you are in the world, hopefully you're having a good day. It's Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Cincinnati, Ohio, USA. If you're here, please hit thumbs up as you enter. And I'm going to share this link on Twitter, and I'm going to share this link on Facebook as well. Yeah, hit that thumbs up. I appreciate it. If you could do that, I'm sharing this to Facebook now. Share it to Twitter as well. Salute Cam J. Salute Jab Queen Boxing. Salute. Appreciate y'all. So let me get this on Twitter real quick. All right. So what's up, everybody? What's good? What's good? What's good? What everybody? Yeah, I done had a pretty rough work week or whatever. So I've been trying to stay on my dean as far as the boxing and what's going on or whatever, and tap in as much as I can with my fam, Cam J, Jab Queen. Big shout outs to the fam. Hey, what's going on, bro? What's going on to my bro down in Tampa, Florida, down south? Big bro, what's good? What's good, big bro, down south? Shout out to my family down in Florida for sure. All right, so I'm gonna just read off a few things I saw just to share with people who may or may not know. I know a lot of boxing purists like Cam J and Jab Queen. They generally know what's going on. I get a lot of intel from Cam J and my homeboy Matt Brown. But for those who may be like a casual boxing watcher or you catch boxing here and there, I'm gonna just let y'all know. What's being said is that the Xander Zayas versus Jerron Boots Ennis is in preliminary talks. So we're gonna see what's going on. We're gonna definitely see what's going on in that regard. I saw something on social media with Dave Allen, heavyweight boxer Dave Allen, and it says who's next. They have a picture of David Adelaide, Zilly Zhang, Martin Bacoli, man, Philip Herkovic, and Joe Joyce. Now, me personally, out of those five guys I named, Joe Joyce may be the only person that I think that Dave Allen could beat, because the last few fights that Joe Joyce has had with Zilly Zhang and different people, he's taken a lot of, like he took a lot of, even though he beat Joseph Parker, he took a lot of damage. And then once Zilly Zhang got there, the damage that Parker established, Zilly Zhang just took it, took it to another level. So Joe Joyce is probably the only person on here I could see Dave Allen beating. I feel like Philip Herkovic, he'll probably stop Dave Allen. Martin Bacoli, he'll likely stop him mid rounds. Zilly Zhang, he'll stop Dave Allen, in my opinion. And even David Adelaide, he may stop him in the mid to late rounds. So, when it comes to Dave Allen, he'll probably fight anybody, but I just don't put him up there in that world level class. Let me see. And I saw something on Boxing Scene where Jose Benavidez had said David will stop him, destroy him, talking about Ja Apataya. Now, based on the last performance, I don't want to just base it off the last performance, but at the same time, Ja Apataya, when he fought Brandon Glanton, he did what he had to do. But to me, I would say it was a good performance, but not necessarily a great performance by Ja Apataya. Many of us felt like he should have stopped Brandon Glanton, and he just couldn't seem to. I mean, he did enough to win, but not enough to turn up in certain spots to try to close out the show. And one thing about Ja Apataya, he has to realize he just fought Brandon Glanton, who has a pretty good chin. He's pretty durable, but he's not one of those guys at the top. So when he starts to fight people like David Benavidez or maybe even Zurdo Ramirez, I feel like he's going to have a problem because he's going to have to take it to another level when he fights David Benavidez. David Benavidez is no Brandon Glanton. So that being the case, he's going to definitely have to up his game if he steps in the ring with David Benavidez. Now, to be fair, we're going to see what David Benavidez does with Zurdo Ramirez. But as of late, and I think I heard Cam J say this a while back on his podcast, the last few fights that he has, Zurdo Ramirez hasn't had a stoppage since 2021 when I went back on the box rec or whatever. So, and he really doesn't have, he has decent power, but he doesn't have good hand speed for real like that. So I definitely feel like as far as like the hand speed and the better movement, to me, that lies with David Benavidez. And I think that the hand speed could be a defining factor when they actually fight. I don't think Zurdo Ramirez has fought somebody with the type of hand speed as David Benavidez. And I know a lot of people hate on David Benavidez or whatever. They don't want to give him credit. But I rock with David Benavidez. I feel like he's daring to be great, and he's always wanting to fight the best opposition out there. You don't see David Benavidez pulling a Devin Haney like he did with Ryan Garcia. Reluctant to run it back. If that was somebody like David Benavidez, he's gonna be like, it's whatever, it's whoever. That's his mindset. So I really respect that when it comes down to David Benavidez, aka the Mexican Monster, for sure. Cam J, you said JBQ, great show today, sis. The cook up was real, most definitely. And man, I'm sorry I didn't get to check into it, but I'm going to run it back, only because I was too busy trying to catch up and get my little final notes and stuff together or whatever for the night. So I didn't get a chance to check out Ms. Jab Queen, but I'm gonna definitely check it out. Cam J, you said, what do I think about Xander and Boots? Definitely. I hope that happens, man. I've seen Xander get down a handful of times, so I would have to go back and let it marinate a little bit more right now. Like go back, look at some Xander, a couple of his last fights or whatever, because nothing's coming to mind right now. I know I've seen him fight a few times, but I have to go back and like refresh my memory of him. But I mean, shoot, if it's one of those fights that's going down, I'm gonna definitely be here for it. I'm gonna definitely watch it. But off the top of my head, as far as Xander, I couldn't really say in particular myself. Yeah, I agree. Cam J, DB is him. Yeah, Benavidez is definitely that guy. So I guess haters are gonna hate. All right. So so I saw the interview with Henry Garcia on Mill City, and he said they're definitely ready for the Devin Haney fight. But it ain't no secret, Devin Haney and them are not really, they're not really trying to bark up that tree. It is what it is. But anyways, we all know Ryan Garcia said he wants to smoke with Devin Haney, and pretty much Henry Garcia said, talking about, he was referring to Devin. He said he ain't no Debo. You know what I'm saying? If he ain't trying to run it back, there's no way he can be calling himself Debo, because Debo wants to smoke with everybody. So that Debo Dev, that narrative don't stick. That alter ego, it doesn't go. It doesn't align. You know what I'm saying? Because it's crazy. You got Ryan Garcia right in your face. That's going to be the money fight. That's the one that everybody wants to see you run back because of all the Ostarine stuff and all the stuff that got in the media of boxing or whatever. But then you want to look the other way and you want to try to entertain Rolly Romero, which is cool. I mean, that's still a cool fight. But at the end of the day, Rolly Romero is going to be there. He should have fought Ryan Garcia, and then you worry about Rolly Romero on the back end, in my opinion. So, it is what it is. But but even given the fact that he may fight Rolly Romero, there's no guarantee he's gonna beat Rolly. Rolly ain't no pushover. So it's like that old cliche. The grass ain't always greener on the other side. He might try to fight Rolly Romero and still take an L. In fact, who's to say Rolly Romero won't do him worse than what Ryan Garcia did? Because Ryan Garcia pretty much shut him down with the same punch, time after time, that he had no answer for. But Rolly Romero might just get in there and do a demolition on him. So we gonna see how the chips fall in that situation or whatever. If it is Rolly Romero, hold on, let me see what you say. Cause KFJ, you said the Haney's nervous of Ryan. Laughing emoji. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I think, like a lot of people say, I do think that Ryan Garcia got his number. And I think that in the back of his mind mentally, he knows that. I think Devin Haney knows it. Of course, he can't admit it, but he knows that Ryan Garcia is probably that type of style that, he can give him that blemish. He gonna give him that first L. So of course he got his zero back or whatever, but he knows if he fights Ryan Garcia, he's gonna take that L. You know. So that's what that's really about. KMJ, you said, I hope Top Rank really go through with the fight for Xander. Yeah, man. I'm thinking it will, man, because Bruce Ennis definitely needs somebody, that's going to be that type of name that carries some type of weight, And I'm tired of people just saying that, oh, Bruce Ennis ain't this, ain't that. He's fighting a plumber. He's fighting an electrical guy. They're not really giving him the type of opponent that he needs, because we definitely know. You could just see it in Bruce Ennis. He got the goods. You know what I'm saying? He passes the eye test, and he just that certain person that's gifted to where you just know he's that guy. He just needs the opportunities or whatever. So shout outs to Bruce Ennis for sure. Now, Golden Boy Promotions, I did get to catch that main event earlier today. I ran it back with Arnold Barbosa versus Kenneth Sims Jr. It was a pretty good fight there for sure. You know what I'm saying? It was definitely one of those back and forth fights. It was just a shame that Kenneth was. It's like he going back and forth for Arnold Barbosa, but he wasn't doing anything to create any separation. Every time he do a little something, and then Barbosa come back with the same similar combinations, but Barbosa was doing a little bit more each round just to stay ahead of him. So I mean that is what it is. I mean, Kenneth Sims got to realize and go back and look at the fact that he was underperforming. He got to blame himself on that one. Cam J, you said Sims saying he moving back down to 140. Now Barbosa is now 31 1-0, WBO champ in the welterweight division. So, it was a cool win, but it wasn't nothing that I was like head over heels about or whatever. But congrats to Barbosa for his win, and that's what it pretty much is. Now, in female boxing this weekend, I also ran back the Gabrielle Fundora versus Vivian Ruiz fight, and it was one of the type of fights to where I pretty much knew before it happened that Gabriella was going to be victorious. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was like a 20-year age gap. Gabriella's 23. Her opponent, Vivian Ruiz, age like 43. And there's only a couple of exceptional people at the age of 40 or just above that can actually done something later in age. But for a person like Vivian, who's really not at that type of level or whatever, nah, I pretty much knew she would have a couple decent, moments in the fight like she did, but I pretty much knew Gabriella Fundora was going to close out the show. So she retains her titles or whatever. And then, the fact that the reach difference, 69-inch reach that Gabriella has is always going to be a big problem. and she's a southpaw too. So that's going to add another issue in there too, because a lot of fighters struggle with southpaw fighters. Unless they, sparred a lot and fought southpaw fighters throughout their career, that's generally a they generally cause a lot of issues for orthodox fighters. Now speaking of Fundora, her brother Sebastian Fundora, the WBC super welterweight champ. Now he says he's going to knock out Keith Thurman. In the same aspect, Keith Thurman says he's going to knock out. He said he's going to knock out Sebastian Fundora. So I'm definitely liking. I'm liking the build up to the fight. I like the energy of both guys. And Thurman, as we know, he only has one loss. And I want to say they both got one loss apiece. So they both got one loss apiece. So it's going to definitely be a good fight. But I think Fundora's reach is going to be a problem. But I mean, Keith Thurman said he's been preparing for this moment, and he's been sparring some tall, lengthy guys and some guys that weigh more than him and stuff like that. So I think he's done his part in that regard to build up for the fight. But Fundora is just never an easy opponent just because of his dimensions, his height, his reach. I know what was that? Brian Mendoza got off on him and knocked him out, but I mean, hey, Mendoza had a good night that night. I don't know if I can say it was a bad night for Fundora or whatever, but Mendoza did get it off. But it's not an easy feat. And I think that Fundora is getting better and better. And I think he's realized and learned from that loss that he's a little bit more cautious about certain stuff. You know what I mean? And he's not going to probably play Keith Thurman too close. Like he's going to keep that distance and use his jab, use his advantages with his reach and stuff like that. Cam J, you said Gabby really liked that. Yeah, man, she doing her thing, man. So I guess we're gonna see what the future holds for Gabriella. Um, Now I saw that interview Keith Thurman did, and he was saying that basically, this is like his second go around. So I don't know, man. I'm leaning towards Fundora, but Keith Thurman, I mean, he's got that resilience. You know what I'm saying? He's got that resilience. He can dig deep and stuff like that. It's gonna be an interesting fight. It's gonna be an interesting fight. I just hope it ain't a situation where he struggles so much if Fundora is using that jab and jabbing him or whatever, that it's not a boring fight. That it's like it's going to be some excitement, some back and forth. I hope that Keith Thurman can get it off. You know what I'm saying? Maybe work his way inside and go to the body here and there and stuff like that. But I don't know. We're going to see for sure. What's y'all prediction, or a Jab Queen? If you have a prediction, what is yours for Sebastian Fundora versus Keith one time Thurman? And they both got a decent knockout ratio. Thurman got like a 74% KO ratio, and Sebastian got like a 65% KO ratio. Yeah, you got Fedor. That's what's up. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the heavyweights for a second. So I saw the face off with Deontay Wilder versus Derek Chisora, with Adi Oladipo. And for those who may or may not know, Del Boy Chisora and Deontay Wilder, they have a friendship and they have a mutual respect for one another. However, they both understand in the ring they got to go into beast mode, into war mode mentality. So, like Wilder said, they started to really grow as friends. They grow like they're like brothers. He used the term brothers, but they're still fighting each other. You see where I'm going with that one? You got too many guys out here claiming they brothers, and they're letting that be the reason they don't fight. Well, Deontay Wilder and Derek Chisora, they're gonna fight, and they'll be brothers and shake hands after the fight. But they're gonna get in the ring and show up and show out, and that's what boxing needs. It's too many of these brotherhood relationships that are clogging up the some of the best fights that won't never happen. I'm not saying any names, Shakur Stevenson, but it is what it is. Uh, so now Wilder did say in the interview he don't have to act all crazy or vice versa, or, him and Del Boy to sell this particular fight. He said it ain't always necessary to do so. But he did say that Derek Chisora is the perfect style matchup for him for a few reasons. He says because he's going to bring that pressure, he's going to apply that type of pressure. And Wilder said pressure bursts pipes, but pressure also creates diamonds. So Wilder said, he knows Derek Chisora is going to retire and he'll be happy to send him off into retirement. So it's going to be a heavyweight clash. Deontay Wilder, the puncher, the one hitter quitter, versus Derek Chisora, aka Del Boy, a brawler who also has decent punch power, but is known for his brawling style, his come forward style. It's going to be interesting to see that fight because this is a fight, as they spoke in that interview. They had been trying to put this fight together for a long time, but the contract was never right. The business part of it wasn't right, according to Derek Chisora. So what do y'all feel about that one? Derek Chisora versus Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Who wins and how? Because most likely it's going to be a knockout. I mean, we can obviously say we know Wilder with a high knockout ratio. If he lands his right hand flush, it could be over just that quick. But Derek Chisora, he's knocked out guys like I want to say it was maybe David Price and a few guys. He's knocked out. He dropped Joseph Parker in the first fight. So Derek Chisora he has decent power. And he went to war with Dillian White way back in the day. So he always brings the action, that's for sure. So this is going to be an action packed fight. And Derek Chisora was also asked in an interview about the power of Deontay Wilder and why he chose it, and does he still think Deontay Wilder has that power? And he said, yeah. He said pretty much Deontay Wilder is like a male lion. He might be a little older, but he's still that type of that warrior lion. You know what I'm saying? He still has that power and that essence, or whatever. So it's going to be a good fight. Some people say Wilder definitely wins by knockout, but I guess I'm looking at it like this. I think Derek Chisora is going to come in like he normally does, like he did with Usyk, like he did with Joseph Parker. He's going to just come in swinging those haymakers in the early rounds. I think if he can't connect flush enough times and cause enough to inflict enough pain to stagger Wilder, to trouble him, it's going to be a long night for Derek Chisora. If it goes past probably like round five or six, I think Derek Chisora is going to he's going to be stepping on his front foot so much. He's going to be swinging, throwing the kitchen sink or whatever, and I think he may start to gas out. I think if he gasses out, he's going to get knocked out for sure. If he gasses out, he stands no chance. So I think if he can win early, that'll be the best for him. But if it goes mid rounds or beyond, I got Deontay Wilder by knockout. Cuzzo, you said, Cam J, you said 50-50 fight. Yeah, man. Right down the line, man. Because it's going to be an action-packed fight. I'm looking forward to that one for sure. And right before I talk about the pro box fight main event from Friday night that was off the charts with Najee Lopez versus Manuel Gallegos, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Tyson Fury card because it's not, I don't know, it's really not a lot of buzz about it like that. Now, granted, it's going to be on Netflix, but I haven't seen a whole lot of promo about it. I haven't seen Netflix saying a whole lot about this fight with Tyson Fury as the headliner, and of course he's going to be fighting Arslanbek Makhmudov in the co-main event, Conor Benn versus Regis Prograis. I'm not really hearing a lot of buzz about this one, and that's not good. That's not good. So, hey, we'll just see how this goes, as we get closer to the actual fight date. See how things start to move, But right now, I don't hear a whole lot about. KFJ, cuz off the chain. Hold on. Oh, KFJ, you said the April 11th card trash. Oh man, you got me over here weak, cuzzo. So let's talk about that Friday night main event. Oh my goodness. Shout outs to Najee Lopez. But let me be fair. Big shout outs to his opponent. Manuel showed a very great chin. A lot of heart. Oh my God. This fight was off the chain. That's one of the best fights I've seen in a long time. And at first, when I'm texting Cuzzo, I'm like, yeah, I think Najee Lopez is gonna stop dude by like 5 rounds, maybe 7 rounds. And then I'm like, I see Najee come in, doing his thing. I'm like, nah, he might stop him in round 3. But I was wrong. Dude has a good chin. And dude wanted to get in a firefight. Like every time Najee pressed him, he right there to meet him in the middle of the ring or whatever. Like, dude was, hey, that fight right there was crazy. And the fact that this is what made the fight even more interesting. The fact that they had a clash of heads and Najee had that big gash right close to his eye, whatever, and all that blood, on the side of his face. He didn't let that. He looked past that. He didn't let that detour him or distract him or nothing. Najee stayed on his pivot and he stayed calm and collected and kept his composure. Because I was wondering, like, okay, he's kind of a young fighter. I don't know if he's ever been in a position like this where he's had a clash of heads and a bad cut like that. How's he gonna react? He reacted very, very well. And even when he got dropped, when they started to had their firefight exchange or whatever, that to me was more like a flash knockdown. He went down and got right back up. I don't think he was really hurt personally. But then for him to like both of these guys to keep going really, really, really hard, round 7, back and forth action, and then that round 8, it was off the chain. It was simply off the chain. Man, it was crazy. That round 8 was crazy. Um, because I was just wondering, like, okay, is Najee gonna be able to, close this out or whatever, or is that gonna factor too much, that cut over his eye? And then a little while later, another clash of heads happens, and Manuel gets a cut. Not as bad though, not as bad, but he gets a cut. Now he's bleeding just a little bit, but nonetheless, these guys go to war. Plenty of back and forth, ripping shots to the body, hooks to the head or whatever. And before you know it, once Najee staggered him, I can't remember what punch it was that staggered him, but once he staggered him, I'm gonna have to go back and watch the fight tonight. But after he staggered him, it was on and popping. Once he staggered Manuel, he just went all the way out. Had him up against the ropes and just letting it go. And I'm like, dude is still on his feet. Like, dude is his chin like titanium or something. Because he did not want to fall. He did not want to fall, man. He had a lot of mental fortitude. And that's the type of mental fortitude, speaking of that, that's the type of mental fortitude that Daniel Dubois is going to need when he fights Fabio Wardley. But back to Lopez, he stops him in the 8th round, knocks him down for the count. Well, knocks him down, and the ref waves off the fight, as he should have, because I could only see it getting worse if he let him get back up. But man, what a fight! What a fight! What a fight there! That right there was a very, very good fight. One of the best fights I've seen this year. That fight right there was, yeah, it was definitely off the chain. All right. Uh, KMJ, you said they wasted 15 million on Ben for Progress for nothing. KMJ, you said Najee damn Lopez. Absolutely, man. He put on, man. He put on. I just hope that those two he ended up having 2 cuts if you've seen it, but hopefully they get him together to where they heal up properly, and so he'll be ready for his next showdown. But I mean, he showed in this fight that he has that grit. You know what I'm saying? He has that grit to him. So like I said, shout outs to both of those guys because they both put on. They was both some warriors. So since I'm speaking about heavyweights, I'm gonna stick there real quick too. Since I talked about Tyson Fury and Arslanbek Makhmudov, it's not really making a lot of buzz right now. Let's talk about Daniel Dubois versus Fabio Wardley. I've seen a lot of workout videos with Daniel Dubois and his trainer Don Charles. I think Don Charles is the right trainer for Daniel Dubois. It's like a father and son relationship. You can see it's a respect type of relationship that they have. And I just think that Don Charles would be the best fit for Daniel Dubois. The only other person I could see that would have been maybe good for Dubois is maybe a Ronnie Shields or somebody out of the Crunk Gym, because the Crunk Gym, they already specialize in knockouts and stuff, and Daniel Dubois already has that knockout power. So all they would do is just, you know, sharpen up what he already has, and then work on him from a mental standpoint. Well, he has a tough hill to climb, but in the same aspect, so does Fabio Wardley when they fight each other. They both are going to need mental fortitude because they both have a crazy knockout ratio, both got a 95% KO ratio. So this fight is pretty much even. It can go either way. I'm edging Fabio Wardley, but some people say Dubois will stop him. And I can't say that he can't stop him because, like I said, these guys are heavy handed. So pretty much to me, it's like it could be a situation on whoever can take the more like, okay, they both can hit, so who can take the punch better? Like if Fabio lands first, will he will Dubois be able to take that? Will he be able to take that type of power? Or if Fabio gets hit first from Dubois, will he be able to take that kind of power? And it makes it an interesting fight. It makes it a very interesting fight. I'm gonna have to just sit back more and more as the fight gets closer and closer and let it marinate. Certain fights you gotta let marinate because this is definitely a fight that they label it "Don't blink," because soon as you blink, soon as you take a restroom break, go to the restroom, or soon as you walk away from the TV and end up doing something, you're gonna miss. Because just that fast, you're gonna hear, if somebody's with you, you're gonna be hearing cheering, and you're gonna be like, "What happened?" And somebody's probably got knocked out or got dropped. It's that type of fight. So, being that we got the two 95% knockout ratio heavyweight knockout artists, Jab Queen and Cam J, who do y'all got? Fabio Wardley versus Daniel Dubois. Who you rocking with? Cam J, you said Usyk wants the winner of that one with Wardley versus Dubois. Now that, man, if he fights one of them guys, which I'm hoping Wardley does win, just because it's a different person. Like if Dubois isn't winning, he's gonna go back in there and probably get stopped just as fast or quicker than he did in the rematch. I think Usyk got the number of Daniel Dubois. I think he got him more on the mental side to where Dubois gets frustrated. He gets too frustrated. And when you're a boxer at the level of Dubois, you can't let frustration get to you. You got to be able to handle it when stuff don't go your way. You might not be on top at the moment. You might have to go through some rough currents and tide in the ring. I think Daniel Dubois, it gets to be too much for him, and he can't take it. So if he fights Usyk again, I think Usyk gonna stop him. But I'm hoping Fabio Wardley does win because I want to see something fresh. I'd rather see Fabio Wardley versus Usyk. I don't want to see Dubois versus Usyk 3. Just like I don't want to see Usyk versus Tyson Fury 3. I don't want to see those. I don't want to see those matches. Cam J, you said You said another 50-50 fight. I want to lean Wardley, but not 100% sure yet. Yeah, man, I'm on the same. I feel the same way, man. I feel the same exact way. All right. Talk about one more thing. So, David Benavidez versus Zurdo Ramirez. What's your predictions? David Benavidez versus Zurdo Ramirez. And of course, in the cruiserweights, we got Ja Pataya up there as well. So we know more than likely whoever wins between David Benavidez and Zurdo Ramirez, Ja Pataya likely will be fighting. Kind of like I was saying earlier, I feel like David Benavidez has the better speed, the better hand speed, the better movement. And I think that's going to be a huge part. Cam J, you said DB by decision. Let me ask you this, Cuzzo. Do you think DB can stop him late? Like in the last 2 rounds that he may get a stoppage? If he can swarm him, because you know how David Benavidez does, he starts to turn up. So I wonder if he can stop Zurdo Ramirez late. It's going to be a good fight for sure. It's going to be a good fight. Now, let me ask this question to you and Jab Queen. What's up, Cuzzo? What's going on, Bobo? What's up, Cuzzo? Sweet Jones, Zone 15. What's up, Cuzzo? Hit the thumbs up, please. Hit that thumbs up on the on YouTube. Everybody, please hit thumbs up. Cuzzo, Sweet Jones, you said the Mexican monster, David Benavidez. Yeah, man, I think he's gonna be like Cuzzo was saying, either a decision or a part of me says maybe a late stoppage. Maybe a late stoppage. I don't know. Well, let's say this much. Depending on how whoever wins that fight between Ramirez and David Benavidez, it's going to speak volumes on what Ja Apataya is going to be, what Ja Apataya is going to have ahead of him. Because the way I see it, as it stands, even before they fight, I feel like Ja Apataya is going to have to turn it up another notch. He's going to have to go into another gear. He can't be on that level that he was with Brandon Glanton. Now, maybe play devil's advocate and say, hey, maybe he's the type of fighter who fights to his opponent's level. Maybe he just only fought Brandon Glanton to that level. And maybe if he fights somebody like David Benavidez or Ramirez, maybe he's going to step up his game. I don't know. But, time will tell for sure. Time will definitely tell. Sweet Jones, you said you already know he's a well-balanced fighter with a high boxing IQ. And that's a fact, cuzzo. Sweet Jones, that's a fact. David Benavidez is definitely a well-balanced fighter with a high ring IQ. That's what he is. That's definitely what he is. So I'm rocking with him. I mean, I'm a fan of David Benavidez, of course. But even if I put that to the side and look at it just from the perspective of the styles and stuff like that, I feel like David Benavidez, he definitely has what it takes to beat Zurdo Ramirez. And depending on the fashion that he should or may win, then Ja Pataya may just be in trouble, as Jose Benavidez said. He just might be in trouble. Yep. We're gonna see. Because I want to say Zurdo Ramirez is a southpaw. And I want to say Ja Pataya is a southpaw. So if Benavidez wins this fight, he'll be coming off fighting one southpaw to fight another southpaw. So we will definitely see what's going down. I did see something with Shakur, not a Shakur, but Keyshawn Davis and Ryan Garcia in some type of club, and they had a face off. So I don't know what that was all about. I didn't really get into the details of it or whatever. I don't know if they were just joking around or sizing each other up as if Keyshawn really wants to smoke. Now I know that Shakur Stevenson, he would never entertain going to 147, and I know that's something Miss Jab Queen talked about, Cam J talked about. But to me, I feel like Keyshawn Davis has a different mentality than Shakur does. He may would go up to 147. Keyshawn may would go to 147 and get the smoke. I'm not saying that to be a fact, but it's very possible he may. What do y'all think? Do you think Keyshawn Davis would go to 147? Hey, Canada's boxing channel, what's going on, Bob? I appreciate you coming through, my man. Hey, man, I appreciate the positive motivation and inspiration, Bob. I appreciate that. Salute to Canada's boxing channel. Much love to you. So let me know right before I go. And since you're here, real quick, Bob, I'll ask you what I asked everybody else right before I close off the show. Yeah, everything is well here in Cincinnati. We call it the Nasty Natty. That's what we call it, the Nasty Natty, Cincinnati. So let me ask you this, Bob. What do you feel about David Benavidez versus Zurdo Ramirez? Let me know your prediction, please. Also, your prediction for Dubois versus Fabio Wardley. And also, your prediction for Tyson Fury versus Arslanbek Makhmudov. And the potential fight that's likely to happen with Devin Haney versus Rolly Romero. What would be your prediction should that fight come to fruition? Because I think it's in negotiations, I believe. And also, what's your prediction for Keith Thurman versus Sebastian Fundora? Let me know your prediction, please. And please hit the thumbs up. If you're here, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up and hype the video. When you go to the comments, slide over, hit hype. Not in the chat, but in the actual comments. Slide over and hit the hype button, please. All right. Canada's boxing channel. You said I take Benavidez. Now, DD versus Wardley, I want Wardley, but I think DD might be able to pull it off. With respect to Fury versus Magmadov, I got Fury. Okay, okay. I like those picks, man. It's all good. It's definitely all good, my brother. Let me see. Oh, and right before I go, because I did ask this earlier in the segment, so I'll ask you as well. Let's see. Okay, so there's this meme of uh, of Dave Allen. So Canada's boxing channel. On this meme, it says who's next. It has David Adelaide, Zilly Zhang, Martin Bacoli, Philip Herkovic, and Joe Joyce. 5 other heavyweights for Dave Allen. Out of those 5 heavyweights, do you think Dave Allen could beat any of those guys I mentioned? Again, David Adelaide, Zilly Zhang, Martin Bacoli, Philip Herkovic, and Joe Joyce. Does Dave Allen beat any of those guys? And I also want to say congrats to, I believe that was Kakachi that won over the weekend. I did not get to see that fight, so that's probably a fight I will see later on tonight. I'm gonna run back the Kakachi fight. I didn't get a chance to see that fight. And my last question, Bob. Let me see. Canada's Boxing Channel. My last question to you. What about Derek Chisora versus Deontay Wilder? What is your prediction? You said I like Dave Allen, but of those guys, I think the only hope would be a very out of shape Bacoli. But they are all hard fights for Allen. You say Canada's Boxing Channel. You said the Kakashi fight was excellent. Well, thanks for the confirmation. I'm gonna watch that soon. I get off this live. I'm gonna go watch that fight. I definitely am. Canada's Boxing Channel. You say I think Chisora will beat Wilder, who has somehow lost the ability to pull the trigger. That's a few people that said that. Now, according to Derek Chisora himself, and of course he's going to probably say that because he wants to sell the fight, but he says he feels like Wilder still has that dangerous right hand, and he feels like he's going to get the a dangerous version of Wilder. But it's going to be interesting to see how he reacts, how Wilder reacts to the pressure of Derek Chisora. Now, I have to say, Wilder does not have, I mean, I see people say this, and I always try to kill certain narratives. Wilder does not have a glass chin. You know, anytime you get hit by a guy much bigger than you, like a Tyson Fury, a guy that's much bigger than you, putting his body weight on you and stuff like that, that's a very likelihood of you eventually falling down at some point. So Wilder does not have a glass chin. Now, if he was knocked out by somebody or stopped by somebody who wasn't a knockout puncher, who had a very low percentage of KOs and really wasn't known as a puncher, then you could say maybe, okay, he doesn't have a good chin. But Wilder has a lot of heart as well. So you said Canada's boxing channel. You said Chisora is selling the fight. Okay, my friend, I have to go. It's snowing hard here, and I have chores to do. Talk to you later. Great show, my friend. Hey, thanks for the positive vibes. I appreciate it. All right, you take care, Bob, and I will talk to you soon. And I will pop up on your channel when I get a chance and show you the support that you show me. I appreciate it. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody who pulled up tonight. Shout outs to Canada's boxing channel. Shout outs to my cousin Sweet Jones. Shout outs to Miss Jab Queen. Shout outs to Cam J Network. Shout outs to my bro down south in Florida, my big bro Tim. And like I said, we'll be back here next week, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, USA. Every Sunday, we're going to be here at Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. And like I say, just be patient with me because, like I said, this year is definitely going to be a solid year. And I'm definitely going to have a handful of people up here to do like interviews with. So just be patient with me. And just as soon as I get everything locked in and schedules or whatever, we will announce. I will be announcing when I will have these special guests to do the interview. I have had a few people reach out to me, so I'm going to get it all sorted out. So y'all have a safe night wherever you are, and I will catch you all on the next round. Peace.